Hello, everyone. I hope we are live.
We are.
So, we are? Okay, great. Hello, my lovely audience. Welcome to yet another episode of Inspiring Conversations. The last episode was a power packed one where we explored different aspects of willpower with the epitome of willpower himself, Mr. Agnello Rajesh Athaide. We heard about so many inspirational stories of people who only with determination and willpower achieved what the world told them was impossible. Now, what I understood from our last conversation is that to possess unwavering willpower, you need to master the art, or should I call it, the science of controlling your mind. Mr. Agnello Rajesh, I would like to know from you, do you control your mind or does your mind control you? Are you there, sir? I think I have lost you. I hope, guys, can you all see me live? I would love to get a little view there. If somebody could comment, if am I live? Because I think Mr. Agnello Rajesh has lost his connection.
I think I
I think
exited.
you lost your connection, Mr. Agnello
Yes,
Rajesh.
yes, I lost my connection, but I'm back. Yes, Nidhi.
So
Please go
great.
ahead.
So I'm going to take it from the fact where I left it is
Okay.
willpower and the fact that today we want to know from you about the science of controlling your mind.
Okay.
I would like to know from you, do you control your mind or does your mind control you?
Okay. So, Nidhi, that's a very wonderful topic that's chosen for today. That is controlling the mind. And well, if you ask me if I control my mind or my mind controls me, I would say that I have trained my brain to control my mind to control me. So that's one more angle that I've given to it. And I don't allow any thoughts to enter my mind without my permission. And this comes with practice. And I will try to explain as much as possible as to how we can do this during our conversation today, Nidhi.
Okay, I can't wait. So I'm driving right into our first question here. What power does the mind have over us, sir?
So, if you wish to understand the power of mind over us, it is important that we understand how the mind works. Friends, there are two levels at which the mind works, the conscious level and the subconscious level. Our conscious mind works according to what and how we think. On the other hand, our subconscious mind is where we have our emotions and creativity rooted. So now, whatever we think of every day seeps into our subconscious mind and takes a permanent seat there. This is the law of the subconscious mind. It works the same for good and bad ideas, and the mind is very sensitive to our thoughts. When our thinking is positive and constructive, then you start to experience success, good health, prosperity, and a lot of other positive things. And likewise, negative thoughts lead to frustration and unhappiness. Whatever you claim mentally, the subconscious mind will accept and bring forth the experience. If it is positive, the outcome will be positive by your subconscious mind. And if it is negative, it will be negative. So, this is how powerful our mind is. And this is why we need to have power over our mind and not let negativity enter the mind.
So rightly said. And now coming to my next question to you. Elaborate on the importance of controlling the mind for us, please.
Okay, so Nidhi, your mind is just like a tool that can either be, it's either can it can be used to construct or to destroy. You can control your mind to become your best friend and your biggest supporter, encouraging you to be productive, successful, and most importantly, the happiness quotient, the peace and happiness. On the other hand, if you don't control your mind, it might just be the reverse. And if negativity creeps in, your mind will not be able to control it and it will be magnified by your subconscious mind. So, the first reason why controlling the mind is important is to be free from your subconscious thoughts that crop up in our heads, even when we don't want them to, and even when we don't have any control over it. So if a situation is not in your favor, there are two ways your mind can work. Either it can make you think, why me? Or it can make you think how to make that situation favorable and looking out for opportunities. There are millions of examples in your life, in my life, in our lives, but let me explain some common ones. Like, for example, uh, that is what J.K. Rowling did, the famous writer. That's what actors like Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, or Nawazuddin Siddiqui did, and many others who are successful actors did. And not only actors, but that's what even what Narayan Murthy did. He magnified the positivity in his mind, because these are people with powerful mind control. So the founder of Infosys, Mr. Narayan Murthy, started with only 6 software professionals, and he started with a very small capital, and this capital was supported to him by his wife. If Narayana Murthy's mind controlled him and made him feel defeated, he wouldn't have been able to create the empire he has in the form of Infosys. The second reason, friends, why it is important to control the mind is because your internal conflicts are lesser. Your thoughts and your actions are in sync. If you can control your mind, and if you can control it, definitely you will be able to reduce the internal conflict. If you think positive, you will do positive. Your life feels more meaningful, purposeful, and willing, and fulfilling to do everything that you want to do and willing to do. The third point that I would like to say is, when you can control your mind, you feel like a superhuman. When you ask the question why you should feel a superhuman, you will feel a superhuman because you know that no matter what the situation will be, you will always cultivate thoughts that are positive, and these positive thoughts will steer you towards seeing opportunities in every situation, no matter what. That's the power of positive thinking, and that's definitely the power of having a control over your mind, your thoughts, and your subconscious mind.
Wow, Mr. Ignano Rajesh, that are some beautiful words there. And indeed, it is so true that it is so important to control your mind. Also, to take this a little further, can you please let us know how we can control the mind?
Well, the first step is to identify the thoughts that you want to change. And for doing this, you need to accept even unwanted thoughts. And only then you'll be able to replace the unwanted thoughts or the negative thoughts with positive and constructive thoughts. When you try to push away unwanted thoughts, that isn't the way to gain control over them. And that usually, mostly, just makes them more intense. So, the better part or the better formula is accept those unwanted thoughts, let them in, and then change them or get them replaced. Ultimately, it's the power of the mind. The second thing that we can do is change our perspective. Self talk can go a long way towards helping you change your mindset, but the way you talk to yourself matters a lot. And again, that also can be practiced and can be improved. But finally, let's focus on positives. Positive thinking doesn't mean pretending that there is nothing wrong, or by ignoring problems or failing to consider helpful solutions. Rather, it involves putting a more positive spin in your negative thoughts, looking at the bright side, finding a silver lining, looking at the light at the other end of the tunnel. That's what your mind needs to be doing. That's what you do, and that's what positive thoughts will help you to be doing. Reframing the thoughts or the actions in your mind to be conducted or implemented. So reframing them won't change the actual outcome of a situation to a great extent, but what it can do is it can change the way you feel about your circumstances, and that will change your reality, your perception, and take you towards more positivity and success.
Miss Meenal here and Mr. Vishwa Shah completely agree with you on this. And trust me, through this conversation with you, I'm suddenly getting zoned out with my next question because I am really trying to absorb all those beautiful words you're telling us there. Can you also tell me and our lovely audience here what we can follow in learning mind control? What
Well,
steps to
the first
follow?
step, okay, lovely. Well, so the first step is start thinking differently. It all begins in your mind. Avoid rumination. You may find yourself thinking about something negative even when you really don't want to. Rumination is thinking the same negative things time and again and time and again, and then you really start taking negative decisions and negative steps. The second step is to believe in yourself that you can change. If you don't believe that you can change, you're not going to try as hard as you should. you start believing that you can change, and you can definitely change. So make sure you're using positive thinking to face your problems or challenges. And I love to say this: every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. The third step that I would like to share is to be optimistic about your abilities, because that's your core strength. It's your own resource, your abilities and your capabilities. You might think that being accurate about your ability to control yourself is the key. But let me share something. Studies show that being overly optimistic about your ability to control your behavior can definitely help you to give a better self control over your thoughts and actions. To be optimistic, try telling yourself that you will succeed and control your mind over and over again, even if in the moment you don't believe so, or if you don't believe in that situation. You still try to be optimistic, try to be persistently optimistic. Try also to remind yourself of times where you successfully controlled your mind as you intended to control, and you got success, you achieved success. Reflect only on those successes and not on any self control failures you might have had, because as far as experience is concerned, you'll have good experiences, you'll have bad experiences, but always ignore the bad ones in the right perspective though, and try to remember the good experiences with the right format of thinking and decision taking. We need to stop overgeneralizing. Overgeneralizing means taking a single occurrence of a negative experience and projecting it onto your other experiences or predictions about how the future will be. If you do that, it will impact the quality of life that you lead. So you need to be very sure to stop overgeneralizing. Uh, it is sometimes helpful if you start creating obstacles for yourselves. Yes, friends, you heard me right. One way to control your mind is to make it more difficult for it to get what it wants. And I'll give you simple examples, like very petty examples. You can replace it with the business examples that you want as per your personal life or work life or professional life. For example, if you want to control the part of your mind that wants to watch TV, when a part of your other part of the mind wants to cut down on your TV watching time, you can put your remote control in a difficult spot to reach. If it is easily accessible, your mind will help you to just pick up the remote, put on the TV, and start watching content, whiling away your time. You can do that by making the reach to the remote being as difficult as possible. Another example, which is commonly seen by all of us, is when we wake up in the morning with an alarm, we hit the snooze button in the morning and go back to sleep. In fact, then you tend to sleep more than what you would have otherwise slept. So in such a case, what you can do is you can place your alarm clock far away from your bed, and then you're absolutely forced to get out of your bed and switch off that alarm, or snooze it off, or permanently shut it off for that morning. When you do that, you're almost awakened, you're almost awake, and probably then you can start your day. So these are some small tricks that we use, but the anecdotes of explaining this, the explanation of this anecdote was to imply to other important things and practical things in your personal and professional life.
Lovely. And I'm sure all of these points that you just mentioned are going to put us in a better position to control our minds. Let's come to another aspect of this particular subject, which is also mindfulness. What, according to you, is mindfulness?
Uh, Mindfulness is something that I love to talk about. Mindfulness means living in the present moment. Essentially, it means being intentionally more aware and awake to each moment, and being fully engaged in what is happening in one's surroundings, with acceptance and without judgment. Being free from judgment is bliss. The opposite of mindfulness, friends, is being on autopilot, and that's when you do things without any thought or consideration. You just do it automatically. I feel that being mindful helps you to notice when you are on an autopilot. So if you become mindful that I'm on an autopilot, I will become conscious about the decisions that I'm making or the actions that I'm doing. So now let's say that what you change by being mindful is a positive decision what you would have otherwise not taken and randomly done. So rather than regretting it later. So let's say, for example, you're eating a bag full of chips in front of the TV, which is your evening pattern or your late evening pattern. Being mindful can help you break free from the autopilot trance and make a moment to make a different choice. Like, for example, you can replace the chips for carrots or something healthier than chips, or decide to skip TV and take a walk around the block or around your complex or around in your society, which might be a very healthy option or a better option for you and your health and your body. So you need to be able to control your mind to be able to practice mindfulness. And life is all about mindfulness. What we are absolutely conscious about when you are into something important, even if it is not important and important, both the time. If you're mindful, you take better actions, you take better decisions, and the outcomes will be much better than what it would have been if you would have been on an autopilot. I think there are plenty of
Yes,
comments.
I'm just going to come to the questions now. Mr. Vishwa Shah is asking, what is the one best mind control technique which you personally use, Rajesh sir?
So what I do, Vishwa, is I'm absolutely mindful. I'm conscious about the answers that I give or the actions that I take or the plans that I make. So being mindful is critically important. In fact, Nidhi, today morning we had a session on spirituality and life, spirituality and business on Business Opportunities Club, and there we discussed a lot great detail. In which one of the key point that we mentioned was we need to be mindful about who we are, what we do, what we intend to do, what are the resources available to us around us, how to integrate those resources and achieve your goals. All this can be possible if you are absolutely mindful. So mindfulness, Vishwa, is one very strict law and rule that I follow, especially with you also. So Vishwa is a very young nutritionist, Nidhi, and what he does is he makes us be mindful of what we are eating, what time we are eating, what quantity we are eating, how much water we are drinking, and what is the frequency of the water that we drink. So all that is possible only when you are mindful of the instructions and guidelines being given to us by internationally qualified nutritionists like Vishwa Shah.
Also, to this particular thing, Miss Sonal Barmecha adds, being mindful is how you train your mind to be.
Oh,
So that's
absolutely. Sonal Barmecha Nidhi is our common friend, and we know how mindful she is, how focused she is. In fact, she's in a trance when I see her at Sonte in Pune or Sonte in Khar in Mumbai. The trance is for her being on the, like in the factory, they say when the owner of the factory is on the ground, it's called as Gemba in Japanese language. The entrepreneur or the owner of the factory is in a trance, he is in a dance form. That's what Sonal is when she is at Sonte. She's in a dance form. She is running from one corner of the restaurant to the other corner of the restaurant. And she can do that because, other than anything else happening around her in the world, what's most important and what she is mindful about is what's happening in front of her with her customers, with the people of her team serving those customers, and the coordination with the kitchen that's happening to make sure every customer is enjoying the healthy meal at Sonte, whether it is Pune, whether it is Khar, or any other Sonte in the other parts of the country.
absolutely so true that is. Miss Meenal also says here, replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts and acceptance of negative thoughts is important. And sir, can you please give us one example for the same?
The choice of thoughts is in our hands, Meenal. So what we choose to believe, what we choose to think about, is a choice that we need to make. And negative decisions are the easiest to take. Positive decisions are a little more difficult. So I have a very dear friend from whom I learned one thing, that if you want to take a decision and if you are confused and if you are not confident about the decision that you are taking, don't be in a hurry to take the decision. For the people who know me, I'm one of the few people who are absolutely in a great hurry. Even day before yesterday has been late for me. But this friend of mine has taught me that for some decisions, if you are confused, if there is a gray area on the decision that you are taking, sleep over it. You'll be able to take a better decision when you wake up fresh the next day in the morning. And that time, you will have the bandwidth to decide what decision you should take. So it's all in our hands, Meenal. What kind of decisions, what quality of decisions, what thoughts to allow in our mind, what thoughts to get replaced, what to get those thoughts replaced with what another different positive thoughts. It's all in our mind, in our hands. And we need to learn it with more and more experience that we achieve every passing day of our life.
Beautiful words there. I'm going to come back to our questions. And we stopped somewhere in the last, which was on autopilot. We know the difference now between being on autopilot and being mindful. So, Mr. Ignelo Rajesh, what, according to you, are the worst case scenarios that can happen if we don't control the mind?
Well, in short, when you don't have control of your mind, your thoughts and emotions can run berserk. Okay, and then that's a dangerous situation to be in. You might find yourself ruminating on a lot of thoughts, on a lot of negative thoughts or positive thoughts, constantly doubting yourself or having trouble dealing with your emotions. That's the worst part. If your emotions take control of you and your mind, then I don't know what will be the quality of your decisions. But even then, it doesn't have to be the way we think. It doesn't have to be the way our mind wants to take control of us. We can still take control of our mind and replace out of control negative thoughts with positive and accurate ones. You should also have sounding board. So in Business Opportunities Club, we are a group of entrepreneurs who form like a sounding board. Any confused decision that we have, we put it across to the group and we start getting the right suggestions and solutions. So when you are in a gray zone, always try to take advice, have a coach. I love to keep saying this, that even on the day that Sachin Tendulkar retired, he still had a coach. And over time, friends, you'll start feeling a lot more happier, more balanced, and in control of your feelings and sense of self awareness and self control. That's what I would suggest on this question, Nidhi.
And I knew this answer would be a short one because I know Mr. Agnello Rajesh does not want to dwell on negatives and always helps us with ways and advice of how to turn every unfavorable situation into a favorable one. So, sir, can you please help us understand how we gain mastery over controlling our mind?
Well, mastering our mind can be one of the hardest, but still, even if it is hardest, it is one of the most rewarding tools towards experiencing truly fulfilling lives. If you want to have a fulfilled life, we have to do this. So let me discuss some practical and easy way to become the master of your own mind. The first point that I would like to share is we need to understand our emotional guidance system and let it become our best friend. So, friends, when your emotional guidance system is your biggest cheerleader on your path to being in control of your mind, you will start achieving peace and happiness. Not only do your emotions tell you when you are on frequency with your highest and greatest good, but they can also identify when you have strayed away from the good decisions or the good thoughts. So, friends, the trick is to become consistently mindful of your emotions before your thoughts have a chance to run with preconditioned ideas or negativity. Friends, emotions can range from a general feeling of anxiety or nervousness to outright anger, and all this will lead only to distractions and nothing good. So, we need to be in control of the right thoughts and make sure that they are the positive thoughts. In fact, you can acknowledge and release emotions rather than enhance them. Of course, unless they are good ones. If the emotions are good ones, then please amplify them. But you need to be very careful and always deal every thought very cautiously and mindfully, and you'll be having surprisingly positive outcomes. The second point that I would like to discuss is something that a nutritionist like Vishwa Shah will also appreciate is we need to listen to our body. In fact, our body is a very finely honed instrument, just waiting to advise that your thoughts are taking you on a merry ride down into a bad mood. So Sonal Barmecha is a fitness enthusiast, and she will agree to what I'm saying that your body is a finely honed instrument, and the body itself will give you indications if you're treading on a very wrong track, which is harming your mental status, which is ultimately impacting your physical being, well-being. But when you allow a bad mood to happen due to the attention that you are giving to negative thoughts, your external situation will begin to reflect those thoughts. So you need to be very cautious and very careful. The first point of call is your own body. In the form of a tug in your stomach, we will feel uncomfortable in the stomach, or we will start sweating on our forehead, or there might be a frown, or there might be a sudden headache, or your limbs might be starting paining, or you might be starting getting a feeling of illness. All these are symptoms that you really need to take a pause, take a mind control, think on what's happening, think on what you're doing, and probably you will be able to be in a position to take corrective actions. All you need to do is become mindful of the current scenario. Next point I would like to share is find your own stop sign. You need to understand when you should put the red stop sign to your thoughts. If they are damaging you, if they are confusing you, if they are leading you to steps which you are not enjoying, you should definitely be ready with your own self stop sign, with a red color stop sign. Make it come in front of your eyes in your mind, and probably you'll realize that you really need to change and replace the thoughts and the decisions that you're currently taking. Also, for people like the nutritionist friend of ours, Vishwashak, think of words as nutrition. What do I mean by saying this is, just like how we are cautious about the nutritious intake that we have, that's something what even Sante is famous for: nutritious, healthy, and tasty food. Similarly, every word that we use has every word is a science, and every word that we use creates images and creates power of decision making in our mind. So we should be very cautious that we need to have nutritious thoughts in our mind and not destructive thoughts in our mind. So we need to be cautious about it. We need to eliminate any negativity that we are seeing on a Facebook feed or any other social media. We need to re-evaluate relationships in our life that often result in lowering of our mood. We can identify people who bring us joy. We should also identify people who bring us not great news all the time. Whatever you consume through images, words, or actions has the same effect on your thoughts as food and drinks have on your body. We need to understand this. So next time that you're tempted to delve into a gossip session which could be hurtful to someone else, for example, understand that it's the same as drinking wine or liquor beyond quantities which can be beneficial to your body. You can't escape the hangover. So avoid getting into gossips. And the last point that I would like to share to the audience is affirmations. Friends, affirmations are the perfect way to remind yourself on an hourly basis or on a daily basis to be the master of your own mind. You need to pin quotes, positive sayings, and goals all over your house or office to give yourself the best chance at keeping track of your thoughts. Sometimes, friends, all you need is a little reminder to stop the negative spiral of unnecessary thoughts in their tracks before you start seeing the results of those thoughts in your experience. Uh, I just love doing affirmations for the various business activities that I do, and for all the very close to my heart relationships that I have, that I need to affirm and be grateful and express gratitude for all the good that's happening in my life because of my thoughts and my actions, and because of the love and support that I get from the people who are very near and dear to my heart.
That is so positive and so amazing. Okay, here's my last question of the day. Is mind control the same as self control?
Well, to control the mind and to control the self are the same thing. When you are able to control your mind, your thoughts automatically get control. You are able to willfully resist temptations and control yourself to work on long term goals. So life is all divided into short term goals and long term goals. It happens so often with we as people who are so busy in our daily lives, like each one of you is, that even when a relationship goes a little sour, you start getting very negative thoughts. You think of doing something bad, something you might regret about at a later point of time. So, such are the moments and such are the times. There might be a business deal which might go a little south for a temporary period of time, but it is in your hands to again change the direction, bring it towards the north, and achieve success and glory. So, everything sometimes takes a little time to come back into the way you want it, but you need to have the resistance, the persistence, the control, and the persuasion skills to make sure that at the end of the day, when you fall back on bed, you will smile and be a happy soul and have a good night's sleep to wake up fresh the next day in the morning. The quality of your thoughts defines the quality of your happiness, and the quality of your happiness and peace defines the quality of life you live. And that's what all of us need to learn from each other, implement it in the real life scenario, and enjoy the life that we live. Ultimately, friends, a reminder that I love to give myself and to everybody around me: it's only one life. Live it to the fullest, live it to the happiest, and make sure that you earn peace, you give peace, and you create peace all around you.
Wow. Mr. Anand Sethi here says the human mind is the matrix of all matters. And
Absolutely. It is the human mind which controls not only your own actions, but with your actions and decisions, depending on the position of power that you hold, how many lives you control, how many, what geographical location you might control. For the prime minister of the country, controls the whole country, which is 130 crores population. The The president of the United States of America has his decisions implemented across the world, and so on and so forth. So definitely, I agree to you, Anand Sethi. The human mind is the matrix of all matter.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful words there. Some gorgeous words. I think I'm going to go back and watch a lot of the words that you've said there, Ms. Regnadu Rajesh. Thank you so much for a yet another, and I cannot emphasize an inspiring conversation that it has been. Thank you to the lovely audience who have joined us for this. Mr. Anand Sethi, yes, we agree. All our education is just a magnifier of our self awareness.
I would like
And
to add there. I would like to add there, Nidhi. I totally agree with you, Anand Sethi. All our education is just a magnifier of our self-awareness, but education is beyond the four walls of the classroom as well. Each human being that comes across in our life that we deal with or interact with is a teacher, and every interaction that we do is education. For education to happen, it does not need to have two people or more than two people. Even self talk and self conversation is a format of education. And education is critical, and that definitely adds tremendous, priceless value to who you are, what you do, and what you intend to be.
we couldn't have had a better sign off than that. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you guys for watching this. And we will be back with the next inspiring conversation soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you for one more wonderful session. And thank you, audience. Thank you for all the lovely people who participated in this conversation. Anand Sethi, Meenal Dubey, Vishwa Shah, Rohit Raul, Sonal Barmecha. Thank you, everybody, for participating in this show. Have a lovely day and have a great week and a great life ahead. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.